Grown-ups who work with kids. I need to talk to you about something, a pattern that I've noticed inside myself and also in the grown-ups who work with all the students who I also work with, that I think is really important, and we all need to be challenged on this. By the way, my name is Gretchen Wegner. I'm the creator of the anti-boring approach to powerful studying, and I work with tons of students one-on-one. I also train educators. I also mentor parents. And here is my request. And I'm speaking to myself as well as to everybody else. So grown-ups, please stop assuming the worst intentions of the students in your homes and classrooms. So there's a story I have to tell. I often get emails from the teachers of my clients. My clients often have ADD or extreme anxiety or like something, something that makes learning and organizing hard for them. And I got this email from this one teacher that said, student yet again didn't do anything in class today. And I said numerous times I tried to get her moving and she just ignored me. And he said some other things too, but you could tell he was angry, and you could tell he thought that she was purposefully doing something to him. And oh boy, do I get it. Oh, so often when my clients are ornery with me, I take it personally. So I understand. This was actually a Friday, I think. So I made a point of that weekend checking in with my student. And in the past, big truck going by. Do you hear that? In the past, I might have like said to the student, like, why were you not paying attention in blah, blah, blah class? And this time I made a point of not at all sounding judgmental, not assuming that the teacher's interpretation was the correct interpretation of what was happening. And I said something like, hey, I'm just so curious what was going on for you in blah, blah, blah class yesterday, because I heard from your teacher and he said that you weren't paying attention no matter how many times he said anything to you. And she had to think about it for a second. And she's like, oh, I didn't take my meds that morning. It was just that simple. And I was like, what? You didn't take your meds that morning? She has ADHD. She's like, oh yeah, we had this volleyball thing and I had to spend the night at one of my teammates' houses. And so my morning routine was totally thrown off and I just totally forgot to take my meds. And yeah, I know, I didn't even notice that I wasn't responding to him. So there was a perfectly logical explanation. And of course, this young woman and I then had a conversation about, okay, so how can we make sure that even when you go out of your normal morning routine, that meds are just part of what you do in the morning, because it helps her so much. And she's clear it helps her. I know some people are anti-meds. This young woman is clear it helps her. And so we had a great conversation, and there have been another couple times that she's been out of routine. And so we're continuing to figure out how to explore this. So then I also talked to her about how to go and talk to her teacher and let her teacher in on what was actually going on for her. We also spent a moment of having some empathy with her teacher. Like, yeah, what do you think it's like for a teacher when they're trying to get you to do the things that they know are going to be best for your learning, and it looks like you're completely ignoring them? How might that feel to the teacher? So we used it as an empathy moment for the student to empathize with the teacher as well. But grown-ups, I really want to ask you to, even though it's so easy to just jump to the conclusion that that student was just blowing me off, what if something more could be going on? And if we can slow ourselves down enough to remember that something more could be going on, then we might be able to stop assuming the worst and then start getting truly curious about what's happening for the student, and we could probably have some pretty profound conversations with them as a result. If you have any responses or questions for me, I am always more available by email, Gretchen@GretchenWegner.com, than I am down in the YouTube feed. So please email me there. And I also encourage you, if you haven't signed up on my email list, you really might want to do that, because there are more. I just paused because I was like, if you're watching this, you're probably on my email, right? But some of you find me through YouTube. So there are going to be more and more reflections like this for grown-ups, for educators. And so pop on over to GretchenWegner.com and sign up to get alerts whenever I have these kinds of reflections. I'd love to have you in my community. Take care, y'all.